Air travel today seems simple. You can fly from one country to another in a matter of hours. But behind every international flight lies a complex network of agreements, treaties, and rights known as the freedoms of air. These freedoms aren't about personal liberties, but rather economic and diplomatic rights that determine how airlines can operate internationally. They were first established in the Chicago Convention of 1944, where 52 nations gathered to lay down the foundation for modern air transport. From that convention, the International Civil Aviation Organization, known as ICAO, was created, and with it, the concept of the 9 freedoms of air, a system that allows airlines to fly safe, legally, and profitably across borders. First, we have the right to overfly. The first freedom of the air gives an airline the right to fly over a foreign country without landing. It's one of the most basic rights and ensures that airlines can take the most direct routes between two nations without unnecessary detours. For example, a Canadian airline flying to Toronto to Mexico may pass over the United States without stopping there. So, in a real-world application, this right is vital for global connectivity. Imagine if every country charged heavy fees or restricted overflights. Flights from Asia, Europe, or North America would take much longer, increasing costs and emissions. Countries often sign air service agreements to allow this overflight freedom under specific conditions. Next, the second freedom, the right to make a technical stop. The second freedom allows an aircraft to land in another country for technical purposes, such as refueling, maintenance, or emergencies, without boarding or deplaning passengers or cargo. For example, a Canadian airline flight from Toronto to Mexico City may stop in Dallas, USA, only to refuel before continuing its journey. In our real-world use, before the advent of long-range aircraft, technical stops were common. For instance, flights from Europe to Asia used to refuel in the Middle East. Even today, cargo airlines like FedEx or UPS or any other expresses like Shopee, Lazada, or Nike. So, it may take technical stops for fuel or crew changes during global flight operations. Next, the third freedom, the right to carry passengers from home country to another. The third freedom grants an airline the right to carry passengers or cargo from its home country to a foreign country. For example, Air Canada flying to Toronto. So, carrying Canadian passengers to the United States. This freedom forms the foundation of international travel, representing 1/2 of the typical round-trip flight's rights. Next is the fourth freedom, the right to carry passengers from another country to home. The fourth freedom is the mirror image of the third. It allows an airline to carry passengers or cargo from a foreign country back to its home country. For example, a US airline such as the United States Airlines flies to Chicago to Toronto, bringing back passengers from Canada back to the US. Together, the third and fourth freedoms form the backbone of regular international commercial operations, supporting tourism, business, and trades between countries. Next is the fifth freedom, the right to carry traffic between two foreign countries on a flight originating or ending at home. So, the fifth freedom expands international. Reach even further, it allows an airline to carry passengers between two foreign countries, as long as the flight starts or ends in the airline's home country. In a real-world example, Emirates flies from Dubai to Milan to New York. carrying passengers between Milan and New York. Next, another example. Singapore Airlines operates Singapore to Tokyo to Los Angeles, with rights to carry Tokyo to LA passengers. These flights help airlines maximize aircraft usage and offer competitive service on high-demand routes. Next is the sixth freedom, the right to carry between two foreign countries via home country. The sixth freedom is the inverse of the fifth. It allows an airline to transport passengers between two foreign countries transiting to its home base. For example, an Egypt Air flight aircraft, or carrying passengers from Dubai to Paris without a stopover in Cairo, Egypt, the airline's home base. So, in practice, this freedom is the central to the hub and spoke system used by airlines like KLM, Turkish Airlines, and Singapore Airlines, which connects travelers from all over the world to their home airports. Next is the seventh freedom, the right to operate entirely outside home country. The seventh freedom allows an airline to operate flights entirely outside its home country, between two foreign nations without the flight touching home territory. For example, an Italian airline operating in Kuala Lumpur to Jakarta without returning to Italy. In a real-world application or scenario, this right is rare, and it is usually limited to special agreements or charter operations. For instance, within the European Union, airlines enjoy a form of this freedom through the EU single aviation market, allowing an Irish airline like Ryanair to operate routes between Spain and France. Next is the eighth freedom, the right to operate within a foreign country as part of a continuing flight. The eighth freedom, also called the consecutive cabotage, allows an airline to carry passengers within a foreign country as part of a flight that continues to or from its home country. For example, a Canadian airline operating to Chicago, to New York, and then to Toronto, selling tickets between Chicago and New York. In addition, to those who traveling to Toronto, in a real-world experience, the eighth freedom rights are rarely granted because they compete directly with domestic carriers. However, they can be temporarily allowed during major events, such as the Olympics or World Cup, to accommodate increased passenger demand. And lastly, the ninth freedom, the right to operate domestic flights within a foreign country. The ninth freedom, also known simply as cabotage, is the most restrictive of all because it gives an airline the right to operate entirely within a foreign country without continuing to or from its home base. For example, an Italian airline operating Beijing to Shanghai, serving only domestic passengers in China. And then, why is it rare? Because most countries prohibited this right to protect their local airlines and aviation markets. However, in regions with open aviation markets like the European Union, airlines can operate freely within any member country. That's why Ryanair and Irish Airline can run flights entirely within Spain. So, in conclusion, why the freedoms of the air matter? Because, together, the 9 freedoms of air form the backbone of global aviation. They determine which airlines can fly where, who can carry passengers across borders, and how international airports transports function smoothly. Without these freedoms, international air travel would be chaotic. Every overflight or stop would require separate negotiations. The Chicago Convention and ICAO role ensures that the skies remain open, safe, and efficient, allowing nations to connect, economies to grow, and people to explore the world. So, the freedoms of air is not just rules. They are the invisible pathways that keep our world connected. Thank you.